Welcome to Grand Prix, your go-to channel for the fastest updates in Formula One. We've got 3 hot stories for you, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay ahead of the pack. Let's get started. Things are moving quickly in the world of Formula One, and Williams is the latest team to make a bold strategic decision that could significantly impact the rest of the 2025 season and beyond. As the grid prepares for one of the biggest technical shakeups in recent years with the 2026 regulation changes, Williams has officially confirmed that it is shifting all development resources toward next year's car. If you've been following the team's trajectory, this move might not come as a complete surprise. Over the past few seasons, Williams has shown steady signs of improvement, both in car performance and overall team structure. After years of stagnation at the back of the grid, the historic British team has started climbing again, investing heavily in technology, staffing, and long-term planning. In 2025, these efforts began to pay off. Currently sitting 5th in the Constructors' Championship, Williams has emerged as one of the best midfield performers. With a solid driver lineup in the form of Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz, there was hope that they could continue pushing upward. However, according to team principal James Vowles, the team is making a calculated choice to halt development of the FW47, the current car, to fully prioritize building a competitive challenger for 2026. "We're not going to make the same mistake we made in the past," Vowles said. For too long, Williams was only thinking about the current season, never investing enough in the future. We've learned from that. This shift in focus, while bold, means that the team will likely find it difficult to maintain its strong standing throughout the remainder of this season. As rival teams continue to bring new upgrades race after race, Williams' development freeze could leave them vulnerable, especially in the highly competitive midfield, where performance margins are razor-thin. Still, Vowles made it clear that not all upgrades have been completely abandoned. Some parts that were already in production before the development freeze will still be implemented in the coming races. These updates, although limited, are expected to bring modest performance improvements, particularly in slow-speed corners, an area the drivers have consistently flagged as a weakness. Additionally, the team will continue working on optimizing the current car's setup. While no major design overhauls are planned, the engineers aim to better understand and fine-tune the FW47 to extract every bit of potential out of it through more effective configurations. This measured approach reflects a growing maturity in how Williams manages its development path. Rather than spending resources trying to squeeze out marginal gains in a car that has an expiration date, they are positioning themselves to hit the ground running when the new era of Formula One begins in 2026. It's a long-term vision, one that aligns with the way championship-winning teams operate. It's also a gamble. By pulling out of the in-season upgrade race early, Williams may lose ground to teams like Aston Martin, Alpine, or even Haas, who could leapfrog them in the standings over the next several months. But Vowles and his leadership team are betting on the idea that sacrificing short-term results will yield long-term gains. In many ways, this decision mirrors the strategy that teams like Mercedes and Red Bull have used in previous regulatory shifts, laying low when needed, then pouncing when the timing is right. Whether Williams can emulate that kind of success remains to be seen, but it's clear that the team is no longer content with merely surviving on the grid. So what do you think? Is Williams making the right call by turning its full attention to 2026 this early in the season? Or should they have continued pushing for a top 5 finish this year? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Lewis Hamilton's start to the 2025 Formula One season with Ferrari has been anything but smooth. Expectations were understandably high when the 7-time world champion made the high-profile move from Mercedes to the Scuderia. But so far, his adaptation to the new environment, and especially to the SF25, has proven to be far more challenging than anticipated. Meanwhile, his teammate Charles Leclerc has been consistently outperforming him, which has only added pressure and intensified the scrutiny over Hamilton's performance. During this week's media sessions ahead of the Miami Grand Prix, Hamilton didn't hold back in expressing his frustration. He openly admitted that he isn't optimistic about what lies ahead, suggesting that the upcoming race will likely bring more struggle than success. "It's going to be another painful weekend," he said bluntly, indicating that he sees little room for improvement in the short term. According to Hamilton, the problems with the car are deep-rooted and don't have any immediate fixes, making it clear that meaningful progress will only come once Ferrari brings in major updates, which aren't expected for several races. This isn't the first time Hamilton has shared his concerns. He recently commented on how the current Ferrari car lacks the characteristics he typically thrives with, particularly in terms of stability and responsiveness. He emphasized that the car simply doesn't behave the way he needs it to in order to drive with full confidence, especially under braking and through mid to high-speed corners. When asked about Leclerc's stronger performances, Hamilton was quick to point out that his teammate has a considerable advantage: experience with the car. Leclerc has spent several years at Ferrari, developing a close relationship with the team and, more importantly, understanding how to extract performance from the machine, even when it isn't perfect. He knows this car better, Hamilton said, acknowledging that Leclerc has a more instinctive feel for how to manage its limitations, particularly in technical corners where confidence and rhythm make all the difference. Another key factor Hamilton raised was the difference in car setups. Both drivers and their respective engineering teams have taken slightly different approaches to configuring the car, and Hamilton hinted that Leclerc's crew may currently be making better decisions in that department. He stopped short of criticizing his own engineers, but suggested that there is room for improvement in how they're managing the balance and responsiveness of the car. This isn't unusual in F1. Small changes in setup philosophy can often make a significant difference on race day. Despite the setbacks, Hamilton remains composed. He isn't pointing fingers, and he isn't making excuses. Instead, he's being realistic. He's acknowledged that this transition period will take time, and that he and the team need to build chemistry and understanding before results can come. It's a mature, measured response from a driver who knows that Formula One success is as much about patience and adaptation as it is about raw speed. Still, there's no denying that the spotlight is intense. Every race where Leclerc finishes well ahead of Hamilton only amplifies the chatter. Is the Ferrari move turning into a mistake? Was Hamilton expecting too much too soon? And more importantly, will he be able to turn things around before this challenging season starts to take a toll on his motivation? With Ferrari's next big update package reportedly not arriving until later in the season, the road ahead could remain bumpy. But if anyone has the experience, resilience, and technical insight to guide a team through difficult times, it's Lewis Hamilton. Now the question is, will the Scuderia give him the tools he needs before it's too late? As we head into another race weekend, there's already a major headline coming out of the Red Bull camp. And this time, it's not about car performance or contract rumors. The team has officially confirmed that Max Verstappen will not be attending today's media day in Miami. But before speculation runs wild, the reason is a very personal and joyful one. According to a statement released by Red Bull, Verstappen is currently absent from the track because he is expecting the birth of his first child. The original due date had been scheduled for later in the month, but it seems the baby had other plans, and the timeline has moved up. With the delivery now anticipated for today, Verstappen has understandably chosen to remain by his partner's side during this life-changing moment. Fans can breathe a sigh of relief, though Red Bull has assured everyone that Verstappen is not dealing with any health concerns and that he still plans to participate in the rest of the Miami Grand Prix weekend. As of now, he is expected to be present for Friday's practice sessions, Saturday's sprint and qualifying activities, and of course, Sunday's main race. That said, Formula One is unpredictable both on and off the track, and team officials were careful to note that plans could still change depending on how things unfold. In a sport where milliseconds matter, it's refreshing to see that some priorities go beyond the race circuit. And for Verstappen, nothing takes precedence over the birth of his child. This marks a monumental chapter in Verstappen's life, both personally and professionally. Having established himself as one of the most dominant drivers of his generation, stepping into fatherhood will no doubt present a different kind of challenge and joy. It will be interesting to see how this new role shapes his mindset going forward, both in and out of the cockpit. So while today's media events in Miami will go on without the reigning world champion, all eyes and hearts are with him and his family. From the entire F1 community and fans around the world, congratulations are in order. We'll continue to monitor the situation for any updates. Be sure to stay tuned for the latest, and let us know in the comments. What do you think this new chapter means for Verstappen's future, both as a driver and as a father?